Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Sphumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that it's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you think there's life for Huawei after Google. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first, here's what's coming up tonight. We find out about the first of Huawei's devices that come with no Google services in them. France is looking for African startups. And our discussion is on Silicon Durbs and the Durban tech ecosystem. This as major cities around Africa like Johannesburg, Kigali, Cape Town, Lagos and Nairobi have thriving tech ecosystems. But Durban seems a bit sluggish in this. But first, here's your technology news. Huawei has two devices that will be coming soon. They come with no Google services in them, and one of them will cost 2,400 euros. Yes, you heard right. That's not 2,400 rand. It's 2,400 euros.
Huawei is calling on local developers to help them further grow the Huawei App Gallery that is an offering on the Chinese company's new operating system, the Huawei Mobile Service.
We're calling on local companies and developers. We want to provide South African solutions for South Africa's problems. Many app developers, many companies don't realize that Huawei is the second largest mobile phone manufacturer in this country. We have millions of users already on our smartphones and we will be selling more. So if you want your applications to feature, because you cannot compete with the likes of international companies for whatever reason, whether it's investment, infrastructure. We are in over 170 countries. We have over 500 million monthly active users globally. We can give you access to those markets and it costs you nothing apart from migrating your applications.
Following headlines of the US banning Huawei from doing business there, the company was left with not much of a choice but to develop its own operating system. However new, the OS is still Android.
The operating system has not changed. It is still Android. Okay, but Android is open source. Any manufacturer can use it, it is not licensed, and you can customize it to work on your products the way you so please. So it's still Android. We still have Huawei's EMUI interface on it, which means that if you used a Huawei phone before and you use one now, the experience is very similar. So if all of these things are similar and not much has changed, what is really the concern and what has changed? HMS or Huawei Mobile Service is actually the replacement for Google Mobile Service because we're not allowed to use that part of Google anymore or Android. And that is the part that developers use, not end users. So you as a consumer using a phone, all you want to know is, do my apps run and where do I get them from? How they function on the back end is not really your concern, right? So this is the back end.
Having spent some time with the new installed operating system, some say that they can verify that HMS functions like any other Google Android operating system. Huawei also introduced their latest addition to the foldable device family, which can be seen as an upgrade from yesteryear's Mate X. It's called the Mate XS. Though the phone does not come with pre-installed American applications such as Facebook, Instagram or WhatsApp, it does, however, allow users to retrieve apps and other personal information from old smartphones by using the Phone Clone app. The devices and other offerings were revealed at a virtual press conference due to the coronavirus outbreak.
Gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world. In South Africa, there's a gaming league. Currently, we've heard that the biggest gaming league in the world, that's in China, has currently stopped because of the coronavirus outbreak. But what's happening with the gaming sector in the townships and the local gaming industry? Here's Lebo Mokomela.
Telkom has officially introduced its eSports gaming league for 2020. With launches such as these, one wonders how companies like Telkom reach out to young gamers based in townships and rural areas.
You know, a lot of the work that we've done from a VS Gaming perspective has really been partnering with different communities around the initiatives that they do. Because I think, as you will understand, it's not about one company coming in and trying to do something. It's about a community creating those opportunities in that space. We've partnered with the Western Cape government in a development that they had in Kailisha, where we're basically looking at a community center where people can come through and play, and we participated in creating those leagues.
Young gamers and gaming developers in Gauteng townships have already started taking up space in the country's gaming sorority. Mxolisi Gaba is one such person. However, he says that there are challenges.
I know South Africa has been ready. Our major challenge has really been infrastructure, and as well as organizing our existing audience and migrating them towards the eSports format. So you have players within different environments, whether it's suburban environment, whether it's your township environments. Now the question is, how do you organize them and put them into a space where the infrastructure facilitates them to engage with eSports in an eSports format?
Other challenges mentioned by these gaming enthusiasts is that of accessibility and cost of video gaming events and equipment.
Tickets to Rage are not cheap. Your consoles are not cheap, your computers are not cheap. Like, just objects that you need, the basics to play games or be involved in this scene are really expensive. So that's one of the things that are limiting us as Black people.
Despite these challenges, tech hubs such as the Tshimologong precinct based in Johannesburg, Braamfontein, provides platform for gamers and gaming developers alike to create gaming content that represents Black culture.
The game ultimately is all about street surfers, so it's the individuals that you see in your neighborhoods who have these trolleys and they're hauling around big amounts of recyclable material for some sort of living. And we took them and we wanted to make them front and center of a game, of a form of entertainment. As we know that we are facing an environmental and climate crisis, the people who are doing the most for environment should be put in the forefront. And for us, those are the street surfers. Those are people who are actively there living, is trying to save the world of waste, even though people don't see it like that. So we saw games as such a platform to change their perception around street surfers by putting them in an imaginative world where they race, where they have to combat in order to collect the most waste and ultimately be the victor.
Gaming is gradually gaining momentum as an official career in sports. We have seen esports being adopted as curriculum in schools and colleges in the US and the world over.
So we heard that Silicon Valley built itself by attracting the best tech skills from all over the world to be based in San Francisco. It seems like France is trying the same strategy. They're looking for African startups.
We will invite and support financially the coming of 1,000 entrepreneurs to Bordeaux, to the Africa-France Summit. So it will be a first time. And it's very important because we don't want the entrepreneurs, the startups, to be outside of the summit. We want them to be there to look for market opportunities, to look for new partners, financial partners, technological partners. It's very important if we want to design the cities of tomorrow. And so, yes, we decided to invest money and time to create this platform for the entrepreneurs online to register and be invited to France in early June in Bordeaux. The criteria is to have a registered startup, to already exist, and to deal with something connected with the sustainable cities. But it's quite broad, actually, in terms of scope. Then, of course, we will try to have a balance. For example, a gender balance. We want half of the entrepreneurs to be women entrepreneurs. We want also the whole African continent to be represented. So the entrepreneurs will not come only from, let's say, West Africa or East Africa. They will come from South Africa, they will come from North Africa, they will come from everywhere. We have to strike a balanced approach. But yeah, we are working hard on that and we want it to be a real success. So they go to a website called Digital Africa. That's the place to go to register and be a candidate for this fantastic program.
Often technology does not speak to people with disabilities. But MTN says that they are trying to change this. They've come up with a solution for people with disabilities.
While music might be considered a universal language, there are still millions of deaf and hard of hearing people worldwide unable to enjoy music. In a bid to include them in the music community, local rap artist and poet The Lazarus Man partnered with MTN to create a track using South African Sign Language.
So Deaf Bars is a unique and bespoke soundtrack that we've created in collaboration with Lazarus Man. And what's unique about the soundtrack is that we made it specifically for the deaf community, in that the whole soundtrack is expressed in sign language, South African Sign Language. And the reason that we decided to produce this track was to really create awareness around South African Sign Language and to encourage hearing South Africans to learn the language as well.
The rapper says he is thrilled to be part of this project.
I think it's a start, you know what I'm saying, and we're starting with something very pertinent because this tool that MTN is providing is going to enable deaf people or people hard of hearing in emergencies to be able to call emergency services, which beforehand could have been quite difficult. So if we can start more initiatives like this and build and slowly close the gap, I think eventually we'll be in a good place.
For the deaf community, this is a step in the right direction.
Spoke about the fact that they are faced with these challenges, especially when it comes to reporting crimes, if there's someone sick in the community. Do they think that this platform or tool will help them overcome those challenges?
Yes, yes, it's going to help us a lot, because we cannot use telephone. But then with the new number, the USSD that they have launched, it's quite easy for us because we just text and then help will come. And thank you so much from to MTN.
The company also launched a free USSD emergency service number that enables deaf users to contact the police ER24 Emergency Contact Center 24 hours.
We've come up with a USSD code that allows them to contact emergency services like emergency medical services, the fire department, and so forth, so that they can get the help that they need when they need it.
These services include voice-free access to the South African Police Service and emergency medical and fire services.
After the break, we chat about what's happening in the Durban tech ecosystem and why it's so sluggish when so many cities around Africa seem to have thriving tech ecosystems. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. I'm in Durban, a city that doesn't seem to have a thriving tech ecosystem. In fact, it is lagging behind when you compare it to Cape Town and Johannesburg. I am going to an event that's going to be trying to analyze this and understand why this is so and what Durban can do in order to try and catch up. If you've been to festivals and open-air markets, you would have seen merchants using machines like this one to take card payments. Some of those are provided by Durban-based startup iKhokha.
iKhokha, it enables easy access to card payments for small-medium enterprises.
iKhokha shared their success story with others at an event organized by Silicon Durbs.
People are still quite risk averse, as in they're not willing to put in a hell of a lot of money for a smaller amount of equity. So when you're creating something that you think is quite big, that can be a bit of a challenge. Obviously we weren't as big as maybe we thought we were at certain stages, and that came down to validating ourselves against kind of international benchmarks. But the access to, I think, capital for anyone in our space is tough.
The aim is to build a tech ecosystem in the city. Big business like AWS and Microsoft was invited.
It should be local. It shouldn't be silicon in the US. It should be the silicon in Durban. And same as it will be silicon in Nongoma. How do you really build the ecosystem in your area, in your language, in the way that the way of life is in your part? So these things, we see them being very good and possible in other African countries, because M-Pesa is in Kenya and it's based in Kenya idea. So in South Africa, it should be about South Africa. It should be about Nongoma. It should be in Kungundlo. It should be those kind of places. And if the ideas are original, coming from there, then you'll be able to then build technology on top of the idea.
Those who work with startups shared what they think can help Durban in the long run.
We need to really educate young entrepreneurs with regard in that direction. Bootstrap it, make sure that you gain some traction, and then make sure that you are ready before you look for investment.
And other startups spoke about how they managed to start making money and not live on bread and peanut butter.
If you don't understand what is the problem that you're solving, it becomes difficult. So then we identified a step-by-step approach on how can you actually identify the problem that you're solving. How big is the size of the market? What is your solution? What is how to build a team around the particular product that you're building?
In the end, the hope is that there can be a thriving community that creates and collaborates on new tech ideas that can solve some of today's problems. Lindani Mkhize is the founder of Silicon Durbs. He's trying to create a tech ecosystem in this city, and he's the guy who brought different players in the tech sector together in one room to figure out how they can improve the ecosystem in Durban. Lindani Mkhize, thank you very much for being a part of our network. First of all, what is the idea behind Silicon Durbs?
So the idea behind Silicon Durbs is working with different stakeholders and making sure that within the city we've got resources and programs that are for startups, for tech startups, for people who want to develop their tech startups at different levels, different stages. They get the help and the assistance that they need for them to grow and then reach next in their stages.
Does Durban have a tech ecosystem?
That's the one we're creating in Silicon Durbs.
Is it easy creating this tech ecosystem in Durban?
Just like any other thing which is new when you're introducing in a place where to people, you find that backlash or that acceptance which is not easy. So it's not easy, but we're willing to work and then make things easy as we go along, and people get used to the idea. And as they get used to that, partnerships doesn't mean that they're losing their businesses when they cooperate part of the ecosystem, but it means more for them and their businesses.
And tell us about the event you hosted.
So the events that we hosted today, so the goal was to engage partners that we already met in the past 2 years and then have them on a platform where they engage with us and one another. Because what we find is the issue in the past 2 years is we've met quite a lot of people in the space, in the area, and we've made quite a lot of partnership, but they don't know each other. They're on a platform where they come and connect and then network and then cooperate on things that they can do together without us.
And how do startups become a part of Silicon Durbs?
They can log onto our website and follow us on our Facebook pages, or come to our offices and then you can see that there's got a program that you're doing with partners, or there's got an initiative that you're doing with partners. So that's how they can connect with us via social media platforms, or they can be part of our events where we're doing events and they can find more what opportunities that are there themselves.
The speakers were not really happy with the Durban startup community. Why is this?
I think because we're solving a problem that exists. And most of them, they're part of the problem. So they're happy to be part of the solution of the problem that's been existing for quite some time.
How do you move on from this event now? What then happens next?
So our focus now will be on taking up on the momentum that we have built, which is we're looking at every month hosting leadership events. We're going to focus on building entrepreneurs and people in the space, whether in the corporate space or in the business space, where we're looking at building them as leaders, but we're looking at bringing more people in the corporate level and in the leadership position to come and share and network with other young, upcoming, whether professionals or SMEs.
And lastly, what would you like to see happening in Durban in terms of the city becoming a tech city? Like, let's say, a Kigali or a Lagos or a Nairobi or perhaps a Johannesburg.
So what I would like to see is corporates getting more involved in terms of understanding what the ecosystem can do for them, and then investing in an ecosystem to get more resources for entrepreneurs and then getting more entrepreneurs involved in such a way that we then grow the city to be a hub where innovation and technical innovation is taking place in Africa.
Right, Lindani Mkhize, thank you very much for being a part of our network. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, News Network at SABC.co.za on email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
World's first robot citizen, popularly known as humanoid robot Sophia, interacted with engineering students in India's eastern Kolkata city on Tuesday, February 18th.
She is here to complement us, but we need to make sure it doesn't go further. We need to make sure in terms of ethics we know how to deal with robots coming in. I heard she had a few siblings in the world, so she's not the only humanoid around here. So think in your own brain today, what does it mean that Sophia is here with us, standing?
Sophia was created by Hong Kong-based Hanson Robotics, uses artificial intelligence to communicate and is equipped with state-of-the-art processes that make her one of the most advanced humanoids. And now in Japan. The Tokyo 1964 Olympics left a lasting legacy in Japan, shaking off a war-ravaged reputation contributing to a building boom. It also provided a catalyst for the nation's high-tech toilets that have heated seats and a nozzle that sprays water to clean the user, complete with heated seats and music to cover up any embarrassing sounds.
大切にすると思います。排泄だけしてそのまますぐに出ればいいだけではなくて。
I think Japanese people treasure the time they spend on the toilet. You don't just use it and leave. How comfortable, efficient and calming the experience is matters. For example, the cleanliness of the toilet seat and of the surrounding area is important. Little details being perfect is desired, and so Japanese toilets are made to answer those needs.
とても作り込まれているので
Heated seats, lids that open and close automatically, bowls that self-deodorize, these features have become standard in tens of millions of Japanese homes since Toto sold its first buttocks cleaning washlet toilet seat at the dawn of the 1980s. And now in France. French Minister of Economy and Finance Bruno Le Maire said on Thursday that China's tech giant Huawei won't be excluded from the country's 5G network rollout, but the government will set restrictions to protect France's sovereignty and address potential security risks.
Now, Chinese smartphone maker Huawei has revealed its first devices that will come with no Google products in them. So, on Twitter, we asked you if you think Huawei will survive without Google. 39% of you say yes, Huawei will survive. Another 31% say no, Huawei will not survive. At 16% are people who say they do not know. And there is 6% of you, that number is saying that this is actually not really important for them. That's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. For me, Phumelele Zondi and the rest of the team, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Till we meet next time. Bye-bye. Have a good one.